Hi, welcome to This Quiet Life. I'm Carrie and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today's video is going to be a tour of the garden. So usually there's 1 week in the summer where I think, oh, I've done all this hard work and nothing is growing. And there are plants there and they are alive, but it feels like nothing's growing and I'm not going to get anything. And that's where I'm at. I just feel like nothing's growing. And if I look back at videos where you see me planting or working on garden stuff, you can see that actually it has grown. And so I really like having videos of the garden so I can look back. I also have a garden journal that I started keeping this year. Last year I wanted to, and I did write some notes from last year in the journal, but this year is really where I'm keeping more notes and thoughts and such. And so I'm going to be sure to write the date and when it is that I feel like nothing's growing, so that next year when I look back I can go, oh yeah, every year at about that point I feel like nothing's growing. So I hope you enjoy the garden tour. Okay, so I am using, I don't know what this is called. It's plant tie tape. I'll link it in the description so you can see what it is. But it just holds out and you just, well, normally, if I wasn't videoing, you just pull it and it breaks off. And so I'm going to be tying up these tomatoes to the trellis to help them grow upwards. This guy right here is Dan. He's looking good. Dan's got a bunch of tomatoes on him. So this is Dan. He's got some tomatoes on him and they are heart-shaped like Amish paste. And again, this was a variety that was developed by my friend Dan's family. And so that's why I call it Dan. I think it was developed by his aunt or great aunt, Edith, maybe? Hopefully he'll watch and tell me what it really is. And then, okay, this one is the beefsteak. So they're doing good, jiving. And the solar flare needs tied up. And then I think this whole side is done. I just did the other side of this. So, oh, that probably needs done. But then this whole section is done. This side needs some tying up. This is my, let me move your legs. Okay, so this side is all San Marzanos, and they're jiving and doing well. My San Marzanos didn't do so well last year, and they are thriving this year, so I'm really glad. They are the ones that become my my diced tomatoes and other variety of things. This is marigolds. They're looking good, except the rain kind of knocked that one down. And then I finally have dill coming up where I planted it, because I have it in other places. So this is the row I just worked on. And then I didn't work on the inside of this. So this one needs some work. And this needs a little bit of work. But I need to grab my other tape. And then this one I worked on before I started videoing. So they're looking good. Basil. Let's talk about basil. So my all but one plant died. And I have replanted this one, and this one. And they're not looking so great. But they may come back. We'll see. But this guy's jiving like crazy. And you can see I pulled off where it's starting to flower. So I need to trim that up some so it'll bush out more and do well. Over here is bell peppers, and they are doing great. I may actually have some turning. Let me see. This one's got a whole lot of peppers on it. So I did, I think I did, these are all, or mostly all, California Wonders, or I can't remember what they are, but they seem to produce more peppers than the other ones and get bigger plants. But, okay, so this, you can see on there, that's sun scald, and I just cut it off. But these peppers are longer than the ones I've had in the past. And you can hear sirens in the background because we live in the city. There's a good sized pepper. Some good sized ones. I don't see any turning yet. We usually leave them on and let them turn because they will turn red and orange and yellow the longer you leave them on. So they're looking good. They're all looking really good. This guy's little. Okay, so the peppers are doing good. I have dug the garlic and I failed to film that. So, and there's garlic over here and that's all been dug. And then our pumpkins, and this is zucchini. Either this one or this one is a honey boat and the other one's a honey nut. This is a yellow squash. My goodness, they're loud today. Oh, look at there. Oh, let's see if we can get it. Teeny tiny little yellow squash. So hopefully I've got, let's talk about this for a minute. So these flowers right here that have just the stem, those are male flowers. And then on here, on the fruit ones, are female flowers. And these flowers have to get pollinated for this to continue to grow. So as it gets bigger, that flower will open, and then the bees will get pollen from here and go to here and pollinate them, and then we will get squash. And so that's how it works for all of winter squash and summer squash. The male flowers are on a stem, and you can actually eat those. They're stuffed squash blossoms, and I mean, you would stuff them for them to be stuffed squash blossoms, but oh, I've got a pepper down over there. So they all have the male flower and the female flower, and they have to be pollinated. You can do it by hand, but I have never found a need to do that because the bees do it for me. So zucchini, yellow squash. We're gonna go with honey boat and honey nut. And then this is a pumpkin, and you can see the flower is open, the male flower is open, and there's actually a bee in there. Let's see if we can get in there and show you. There's a bee in there, and he will get the pollen from there and then pollinate the female flowers. And let's see if we can find oh, right there. So that is a teeny tiny pumpkin and the female flower on top, and it hasn't quite opened yet, but it will very soon and get pollinated, and then that little guy can keep growing. If you find that your
your fruit or your pumpkin or your squash is like growing a little and then dying, it's probably because it hasn't been pollinated. And if you're in an area where there's not enough bees or not enough pollinators, then you will need to do it by hand. But I have not found a need to do that myself. So I've got another pumpkin here. I like how this vine is all twisty, or leaf branch, but there's a pumpkin. And one of these will be white, and then one will just be a regular carving pumpkin. So over here we've got peppers. This plant I mentioned over there that we have got some peppers on. They're kind of a greenish yellow color. In here in the picture they look very green, but they have a yellow tint to them. We do not know what these are. And I just saw a weed. Let's pull this weed. Okay, so we don't know what these are. They are very hot. Lance tried one the other night and it is very hot. Oh, so these are Posca peppers, and you can see right there I've got one that's turned orange. And they are, if you've ever had Mazzetta hot chili peppers, that's what those are. And then these guys, let me see, I've got some good red ones. These are snackable peppers that I got from Lowe's for free. I got this plant from Lowe's. And then we've got jalapeno poblano. And I've got two here of the yellow peppers. And then here's the mystery pepper, and then another jalapeno. Let's see in here. A whole bunch of jalapenos in there. So we are gonna have a lot of jalapenos. So this pepper is laying down and I am out of my stakes. So I'm gonna need to get some more of those. But you can see that I've staked this and then used the tie tape to tie those to the stakes to keep them upright. But our rainstorm just knocked that one down. So this whole row right here is poblanos. This guy is a jalapeno. Actually, this whole row is jalapenos, except I've got dill growing in there, you can see. And then jalapenos, except this one, and it is a poblano because it got mixed in. And then this whole row over here is jalapenos. So we're gonna have plenty of jalapenos. Yeah, that's how it's going here. And I will talk to you about jalapenos one of these days really soon. There's a common question with jalapenos, and so I want to address that. And this is a sneak peek of what I'm gonna address. So over here, the onions, they're doing great. They look fantastic. They will get, especially these two rows, they'll get really big. These are mostly red onions, and so I'm not sure how big they're gonna get because I haven't seen them, or I haven't planted those before. So over here is part of my blackberry, and I talked about before, it got sprayed, and so I'm not sure that it's gonna make it. A big part of it has already died off, so we will see. And then I've got weeds over here in this corner that need to be addressed, but a girl can only do so much. More blackberries. These did not get sprayed, and ooh, look at that. Look at that. They're not quite ready, but they're close. And I've been told when they're not shiny, then they're ready to pick, but there's not much there. So our plan is to move these over to this fence. So if you saw my last video, you saw that I fenced out the sandbox. And so those posts way over there those are fence posts. And once we get a fence up there, I'm gonna move this sandbox to that corner over there. And then I'm gonna move this fence out to be even with, because I don't know if you can tell. Here, let's walk over there. So the fence goes across here and then out to that post and then across. So we're gonna take this whole thing and move it out so it's straight across there, and then we'll put blackberries on it then. And my plan was to get a fence up this year. However, lumber prices stopped us from doing that. So one day I'll have a fence there. So since we're over here, strawberries are doing really well. They have, oh, I think I might have a ripe one. Look at that, look at that. It's really close. I don't want to pick it yet because it's going to be a little bit sour, but here, okay, I wanted to move the cover completely off so we can look around in here a little bit. So it looks like that might be the only almost ripe one for now. Okay, so let's talk about this type of strawberry. So I bought Ozark Beauties, and they put off runners like this, and a baby will grow, and then it'll grow more and put off another baby. And I had cut a bunch of these and planted them here along the hose. And if you cut them off, then your strawberries will start producing again, which, as you can see, they have. And I'm letting them grow a little bit more right at this moment because my friend Jamie, who blogs with me at Coffee with Us 3, she is wanting some of these strawberries. So in the future, if I have extra time on my hands, I can cut those. I'm looking for more strawberries. There's one. I saw another big one somewhere, but it wasn't ripe yet. That's a good size one there. But oh, Lance didn't weed eat over here. Okay, so I was saying, in the future, if I have extra time on my hands, I can cut those babies off and pot them and sell them. But for now, I don't have that extra kind of time. So if you've seen any of the past videos of me showing the strawberries, let's see if we can get focused here. There we go. They were sparse. You probably noticed that. But they are not sparse anymore. We were having an irrigation issue, and we finally got that figured out. And so they are full, and I need to pull grass in here, but we will get there. You know, you can only do so much. Let's see if there's any, I don't see any blooms in here. But I see babies. So I need to get cutting on the babies again. And those, when they're still attached to the runner, they will grow out and root themselves in the ground and produce more strawberries for you. And you can see this one has grown out, and I have a baby here and a baby here, so I need to cut those to give to Jamie. And I've got a baby starting here, so I need to get this grass out, and hopefully maybe that can happen this weekend. Okay, so something else that has developed since we fixed our watering issue is we've got some just a couple green beans growing. Actually 3, which is really not enough, but it's better than we had before. There was 2 reasons for this issue. One was water. Second was that I have an extraordinarily large amount of roly-polies or pill bugs out here, and I had something eating plants and I couldn't figure out what, and as you can see right down here, those have been eaten off, and it's
roly-polies that are doing it. And here's
So I went in and looked up how to get rid of roly-polies. And the answer is these. Those are beer traps. And that looks really gross because it's full of roly-polies. Like full. It's gross. And the roly-polies, before I figured out what was eating everything, got almost all the cucumbers here. There's one. And I had covered this thinking maybe it was birds, but it was not. And so they got all the cucumbers in this bed. However, I have 2 other beds with cucumbers. Okay, so we've looked at most everything else in the garden. We've got 3 raised beds here and the brassicas behind me. So let's look at those real quick. This is Leeks. They are doing better now that they've are getting more water. So hopefully they're going to be doing amazing soon. Then we've got Eggplant here, and they're doing a whole lot better now that they're getting water. I did have one die over there, and they had all produced a tiny eggplant, but I cut those off because they weren't healthy. The plants weren't healthy, so I thought I'd help them out by cutting those off and then letting them focus on being stronger to produce. So then over here we have more cucumbers, and they're pretty much all pickling. There's one that's not. So actually I think there's 2 that's not. So cucumbers, as you can see, they've been eaten, and so hopefully these guys make it. I don't know if they will or not, but we'll try. They were being eaten by the roly-polies. So I've got another trap here. It's a little bit foamy from, oh, sorry. Let's see if we can focus on that. See all the roly-polies under there? They need to fall in that trap. But we've got some healthy looking cucumbers here. And then this one I bought, it is a lemon cucumber, so it should be a ball and yellow. And then over here we've got some more cucumbers. That one's jiving and doing well. This one took forever to start growing bigger. It was about that size for a long time, so it's getting bigger and doing well. And the more water helped. So I put another trap in here. We'll skim over that real quick, because it's full of dead roly-polies, which is kind of gross. But those beer traps really work. So here's another one. I wasn't sure if it would live after being eaten almost down to nothing, and it is. And then we've got one more over here, and this actually might be a bigger cucumber also. And then over here we've got our brassicas, and I had pulled out peas to plant some more cucumbers over in the other bed to see if that would help. But now that I know it was the roly-polies, we've got that mess taken care of. So these are our cauliflower, and this right here is there on purpose. Well, not the little green thing, but the cement, because there is a tree stump under there and I keep tripping over it. And when we put in a raised bed, that tree stump is going to be inside that raised bed, so I won't trip over it then. And then our cucumbers, our cabbage is doing really well. This one is doing great. It looks amazing. This one is pretty loose, and so we're going to let it grow for a while. This one's about ready to be harvested. It's nice and tight and big. And then we got one more down here, and they're doing really well. We got some weeds that need pulled, and then our broccoli romanesco. And for the cauliflower, the broccoli romanesco, and the broccoli, which is over here, I won't get any of that until fall when it cools off. So broccoli, cauliflower, so they're doing amazing. So that is all of the garden, and we'll move over to flowers real quick. Just kidding. This is a butternut squash, and it's hanging out on purpose because I want it to, here, Here, let me back up and show you. I want it to grow out and down here, and it'll be over here by the cauliflower and broccoli. So that one's looking good. It got planted later than the other squash. I was just trying to get this bed ready, but looks like blooms are gonna be starting soon. Those actually look like leaves, more leaves, but they're looking good. And then down here is a acorn squash, and so hopefully it'll start producing quickly. It is a lovely evening. There might be some wind, or you might be hearing some wind, but it is actually a really lovely evening. It rained here earlier, and it was really nice. So, and the first part of this garden tour was earlier, right after it rained, and then now, and it's about, well, it says 79 degrees, but I don't believe that for 1 second. Okay, now on to the flowers. Okay, so just off the patio where you see me do some of the intros to videos, we have 3 flower beds, and so in 2 of them we just have randomness of wildflowers. My mom gives me a box of wildflower seeds every year, and so I just sprinkle them in there. Last year I had a ton of these flowers, and they reseeded themselves some, and then I'm sure some came from the box that my mom gave me. We've got bachelor buttons and just random stuff. And then right above that I have geraniums, and they help with mosquitoes. And then I also over here have lemon balm and bee balm, and I have to cut those once in the summer because they get big and go to seed. And the bee balm has beautiful purple flowers, and I throw a excuse me, a fall party every year, and so I cut those so that that's ready and has the purple flowers for the party, so it's really pretty. But the bee balm and the lemon balm help with keeping mosquitoes away. And then this one is just a giant mess, but I have geraniums above all of those, and that's all of our flowers.
I hope you enjoyed watching me give a tour of the garden. It has become my happy place in the summer when it's not blazing hot. I really enjoy it in the evening. So, this shirt you've seen before, and I wore it today because I was going to see a nutrition coach. A couple months back, I decided that I was tired of feeling the way I was, and so I went to see my doctor, and he sent me to a nutrition coach. And so today was my 1 month check-in with him, and so I thought eating cake was an appropriate shirt to wear to see him. However, I have not been eating cake, so things are going well, and I am excited about that. If you want a shirt that says eat cake when you go see your nutrition coach or your doctor, you can get it at this the shop forward, and I'll link it below. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have an amazing day.